The Cycle Hack program will soon arrive with ideas and prototype tools to reduce barriers to cycling over a single weekend. Everywhere you see more women riding and families with children. And those are the indicator species that people feel comfortable and safe enough to ride. The world didn't end on Point Grey Road when the cycling route came in. There were almost no outcries over taking another lane, traffic lane, out of the Burrard Bridge and turning it into a bike lane after the bridge counter recorded 1.3 million trips last year. That's a third more than all of the trips that go down Market Street in San Francisco, one of the busiest North American bicycle corridors. And we topped it by more than 30%. The Downtown Vancouver Business Improvement Association, once solidly against the process for bike lanes on Hornby and Dunsmuir streets, now supports protected lanes on more downtown streets. Some old fears persist. The Commercial Drive Business Society just ran a campaign to keep bikes off of the drive, convinced the change would push customers away. And is Nick Hodor here? Oh, there he is. Wonderful. Nick, I'll be calling on you after the presentations, and I'll give you an opportunity to make your explanation for that. But to frame the topic, today we have Mia Cohen, who is the Executive Director of Mobi, Bikes We Share, and there's a Mobi bike. Right? On the far end is Laura Jane of Club Cycling, and in the center is Matthew Lowell, Cycle Hack's Director of Global and Networks. So I believe Mia's going to start, and it's over to you.
Hello, hi, thank you for coming today. So first thing I want to say is Bike Share is actually coming to Vancouver this summer. And I'm not sleeping because of it, so I promise you this is happening. Where do I want to start? So I don't know if many of you know this, but I actually started Bike to Work Week in the city 10 years ago. So it is pretty incremental to see the change that has happened in this city over the last 10 years. When we started, we had some early adopters, and I have to say the DVBAA was one of the very first sponsors of Bike to Work Week, so very cool. But there was a lot of resistance. There was a lot of people, what is this? What are all these bikes? We had some positive media, but there was definitely a lot of negative media out there, and I'm just so impressed with how the event has grown and how Hub has really just done such a great job of getting so much positive press, and we're over 10,000 people this year, so I'm going to do a huge shout out to Hub, and awesome for congratulations on such a successful event. So I'm going to Bike Share is coming. What can I say? What can't I say? So we are going to be, there's going to be 1,500 Mobi bikes at 150 stations throughout downtown Vancouver. The border goes to Arbutus, 16th, and Main Street. And we are on track to soft launch the program this June, most likely starting with about 50 stations, and I'm looking at Tanya because Tanya Paz is in charge of all the siting right now. She came in last minute to help us out and is also not sleeping these days to get this project done. So we'll have about 50 stations, at least 500 bicycles on the street this June. And these are, the access to these bicycles are going to be for founding members only. So right now you have an opportunity to be an early adopter and a founding member of Vancouver's Bike Share program. The website is signup.vancouverbikeshare.ca. It's $99 for a 1-year all-access unlimited 30-minute ride pass, or $129 for unlimited 60-minute all access pass for the year. And you'll also get first access to the bikes, and you'll get invited to our launch party, and you'll get to help us test the system and showcase bike share in the city of Vancouver. By the end of July, we'll have 150 stations, and what I'm really, these are the bikes here. They're step through, easy to ride, 7-speed, internal hub. This is really, this is a city bike, and I think, a lot of us are riding upright bikes, but there's a lot of people that are still, have a very sporty attire or like to ride fast bikes. So I think this is going to change the way people think about riding. And as we know, bike share is actually, it's one of the safest modes of transportation. Studies in the U.S. have shown there's 35 million trips and 0 fatalities on bike share. Safer than riding a regular bike just because of its upright riding position. And what I'm really excited about, and what I've, my raison d'etre, I guess, is to get more people riding bikes. And to me, I see this as a huge opportunity, a huge gateway for people who might not have their own bike, who are going between meetings downtown, who want to, use this. And we have such a great sharing economy in Vancouver. Car share is so popular. There's 100,000 Car2Go members, so I'd love to see 100,000 bike share members. Maybe not year one, but we'll get there. And the more successful this program is, the more it'll grow. So the area was chosen to provide, because it has the most density, and you'll find stations within every 2 or 3 blocks, no more than 300 meters apart. I know we would love to see the program expanded beyond that, and we definitely want to see that happen, but we have to start with the densest, most accessible area, which is why this area was chosen. I know there's a lot of people that like, why isn't this all the way out to Commercial Drive? And hopefully it will be soon. I think, okay, what else can I tell you? I think I'm going to leave it at that. Because that's really where the program's at. I'd encourage you to become a founding member, and I think that, I'll be here to answer questions, so I'll pass it down to Laura.
Happy Bike to Work Week. I hope you're having a great week so far. My name is Laura, and I'm the Director of Corporate Engagement and Events at Hub Cycling. So I'm here today just to chat a little bit about the current situation of cycling in Vancouver, Hub Cycling, what we do, and how we can get even more people on bikes. Okay, so for those of you who do not know us, we are Hub. We're a local charitable nonprofit. We do education, action, and events to get more people on bikes. On the education front, we teach bike education in schools, to elementary schools, in middle schools. We also teach in workplaces and at community centers. We do action, so we actually have volunteer committees in most of the municipalities across Metro Vancouver. So if ever you're interested in being more involved, particularly on the infrastructure side, trying to make it safer and more comfortable to ride, you can always join one of those committees. And then we do events, so that's kind of more what I do at Hub. We do promotional events like Bike to Work Week and Bike to School Week, which are both happening right now, to encourage people to ride and get even more people on bikes. Currently, 7% of all trips in Vancouver are made by bike, 10% of trips to work. And there's no reason that we can't double or triple that in the coming years, and I think we will, especially with bike share coming. So why cycling? Why should we care about cycling? I mean, there's lots of reasons. Obviously, from a health perspective, we know that 30 minutes of daily exercise is one of the best forms of preventative medicine. Sustainability, transportation is takes a big chunk of our greenhouse gas emissions in BC. Happiness. There's a lot of research that shows as well that when you have more walkable and more bikeable communities, people tend to get to know their neighbors a bit better and just are happier all around. Affordability. It's obviously very affordable to ride a bike, It's affordable not only for people who are riding. The average car in Canada costs about $8,000 a year. So if you don't own a personal vehicle, you have a lot more spending money that you can spend at local businesses, going to restaurants, but it's also a lot more affordable for society. It's a lot cheaper to support someone on a bike for every kilometer driven. When we support people driving, we actually are subsidizing every trip. And when people are biking, we're actually getting money back. We're gaining healthcare costs and environmental sustainability. But another big reason is the changing mobility needs. We're expecting a lot more people to move to Metro Vancouver in the next 10 years. If everybody had a personal vehicle, we would be at gridlock. We wouldn't get anywhere. That's not good for the economy. And also more and more people are wanting to take modes of transportation that are more enjoyable, that are more sustainable, and that make them feel better. So our society is changing. People want something different than just cars. And so that's why we're trying to get more people on bikes. So how do we do this? Obviously, there's a lot of things, and we really need a combination to get the most people cycling as possible. Obviously, all ages infrastructure is key. If we want to get people on bikes, they need to feel comfortable doing so. City of Vancouver has made a lot of progress in the last few years, and we've seen increases because of that. We also need to build infrastructure, one thing that's key, where people actually want to ride. So we can't just put it on streets that we think are more convenient to build it on. We need to ask people who are currently riding, but also the people who are interested but concerned. There was a TransLink study done in 2011 that suggested 41% of non-bike commuters are interested in taking bikes for transportation but concerned about something, usually safety, and that's where infrastructure is key, but also maybe the routes don't go to where they want to go. So we need to build infrastructure. That means on destination streets where people want to ride. Education, we also need a lot more bike education. A lot of countries in the world invest in this. We would love to see the provincial government have it in all schools at a young age so that kids can see bikes, not just as recreation from a young age, but as a form of transportation. Currently, the city of Surrey is the only municipality that actually has bike education in all of their elementary schools. And we'd love to see the city of Vancouver follow suit and other well, and more education of drivers too, with ICBC, changes to the Motor Vehicle Act. There's a lot of things that entails, but that's how we're going to get even more people riding. And thirdly, events. So I know that if you build it, they will come. They definitely will if you build infrastructure. But if you build it and promote it and market it, a lot more people will come. So that's why we do promotional events and marketing around that. So just talk a little bit about Bike to Work Week because it's happening right now. I just checked the numbers yesterday. I didn't check them this morning, but 11,000 registered online, which was our record last year. We've actually seen a 250% increase in the last 3 years in Bike to Work Week participation. So that's pretty huge. And one thing that's really important is about 2,500 people who have never biked to work before, never really thought about it, but because of the team pressure and maybe because of messaging about the health benefits and the convenience, they've decided to try it out. And when we do our follow-up surveys, about 3/4 of these people are still riding 2 months later. So these events are really effective, and we'd love to see more of them across the city. We're also doing Bike to School Week right now. I think we have a record number of schools that are participating in Bike to School Week. It's great to see kids out. It's really exciting. So this is a new event I'm really excited about. So obviously Bike to Work Week, 10% of all trips to work are now made by bike. I think that events like Bike to Work Week have really played a role in increasing that number. Currently, trips to shop are actually not as high. However, most people's commutes to work are longer than their commutes to go shopping. So we really want to encourage people to take those commutes that are shorter to the grocery store, to the coffee shop, to the hockey game, to anywhere in their neighborhood, and not just to work. So we're going to be starting a Bike to Shop Day on August 13th, which we actually in Lot 19 and along Hastings. We're going to have 3 outdoor events, and we're working with the city to hopefully set up a pop-up bike lane, which should be exciting. One thing that another goal of this event obviously is not to just get new people on bikes, but also to have a positive conversation with businesses and in the media. I feel like there's a lot going on right now, a lot of businesses. We've doubled our organization members at Hub, our corporate members, in the last year. A lot more businesses are coming on board, and we want to kind of continue that conversation in a positive way to show how bikes can be, really good for businesses. A lot of research shows that when you put up a bike lane, you can get more customers, you can, property values increase. And I'm going to end there because I think my time is up. Thanks, guys.
Well, hello, my name is Matthew Little, and yeah, it's great to be here and share a little bit more about CycleHack with you guys. So, yeah, CycleHack is a global movement where we look to encourage citizens within cities to design new ideas about how to improve cycling and reduce the barriers. I maybe come into this conversation from a little bit of a different angle from maybe others who are here, Laura and Mia. I am a designer, and in the team who organised CycleHack is Sarah on the left here, Joe in the middle, and we are a team of designers. We generally work with in the UK, so I'm from Scotland. In the past, I've worked with people like the National Health Service, local authorities, local government to design new services and improve products that they have and they use. So each year, CycleHack runs a global hack event. So this is a 48-hour event where we have citizens within cities all around the world come together and design new ideas about how to improve cycling, whether that be looking at large-scale infrastructure, looking at tiny little barriers that individuals face, whatever may that be. They are encouraged to work with designers, with engineers, local authorities, local governments, to prototype ideas and get out into the city and try things out. So there's a little bit of background on CycleHack. It was a fairly simple idea between the three of us back in 2014. We actually started CycleHack just in Glasgow. The initial idea was to run one event in Glasgow in 2014. We actually spoke about this event to some friends online and Skyped with a few cities. And we ran our first CycleHack event in Glasgow, in Beirut, in Lebanon, and in Melbourne. So our first event was in those three big cities. And since then we've sort of grown, and it sort of continues to snowball and build momentum, and we're building our global movement all around the world. This year we have over 30 cities in all continents other than Antarctica taking part. So it's really exciting, yeah, to see how this has grown in the past and continues to grow. So yeah, as I've mentioned, this is all about looking at taking a design perspective, looking at how can we prototype ideas, how can we take simple ideas that people have and give them the network, the tools, the resources, and the community around them in order to prototype ideas and try them out. I believe strongly that everybody here and everybody anywhere really has good ideas. We can use our connections within the design world, within engineering, policy makers, if we really pull all these people together, we can really start to prototype and make some positive change and move quite quickly from discussion into action, to actually trying some stuff out. So centrally from CycleHack, what we do is we support all of these teams of organisers in all cities around the world to run their own events. So from a design perspective, I have to constantly remind myself that some organisers in cities aren't designers. They haven't maybe run events like this before, so my job is to try and help these people understand how to run this type of event, what they should be doing, and yeah, pulling in the communities in order to make it a successful event that has positive outcomes. So what we do is we start with barriers to cycling. So over the last 2 years, stop people from getting on a bike from all around the world in all cities. We've been collecting these and trying to really understand and ask the question, why? Why aren't people cycling? For me, this is one of the most important questions to answer, to ask. And it's really interesting when you start to look in different cities which have different communities, different geographical layouts, different cultural backgrounds. It's really interesting where somebody maybe talks about very simple things like their bum gets wet, to other people about they live on the 4th floor of an apartment block, or whether it be a larger cultural or infrastructure question. So we've been collecting these barriers. So for me, one of my barriers, trusting that my bike's going to be there when I get back. I literally sometimes will not cycle because I don't trust my bike will be there when I come back. That's for me is a really specific barrier to cycling, and is a really good starting point to start to prototype ideas and be creative and positive. So we're really collecting all these negative stuff and changing it quickly into being quite positive and prototyping ideas. Always having to stop and check your phone for directions, stuff like that. Perceived effort of how much energy it takes to cycle a long distance. Lack of empathy between different types of road users is another big one for me. So yeah, we develop ideas and quickly move from discussion into action. We build prototypes out in the city and we actually put them up, we actually test them. A catalogue of all of these ideas from all around the world, so every event that happens uploads their ideas onto an open source catalogue which is online and is a massive bank of ideas which are hosted in the Creative Commons license, so it can be downloaded, built upon, adapted and used in other cities. So that's another interesting thing we do. A lot of people are involved. We won a cool award and it's happening in Vancouver, so come and get involved. 24th of June to the 26th. Time's up. Awesome.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Okay, it's time now.